Hello, my friend. If you've lived long enough, you've probably realized something. Life doesn't always get easier with time, but we can get wiser. In this video, I want to share with you 10 timeless Stoic lessons that changed my life and the lives of many people over 50 I've worked with. These are not quotes to memorize. They are truths to live by. Stories that will challenge the way you see pain, freedom, control, silence, and even love. So, before we begin, I want to ask you this. Which lesson has life been trying to teach you lately? But you've been too busy or too hurt to listen. Share your answer in the comments. I read every word. If you find even one sentence in this video that makes you pause, reflect, or breathe a little deeper, then I ask just one small favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need it right now. We're building a small but growing community of people who want to live with dignity, clarity, and quiet strength. And you, my friend, are part of it now. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Stop seeking comfort. Start seeking clarity. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried so hard to make life feel comfortable only to end up more anxious? I had a patient once, a retired firefighter, strong, brave, but worn down after retirement. He kept saying, "I just want things to be peaceful again." But the truth was, what he craved wasn't peace. He craved clarity. And that's not the same thing. You see, life doesn't owe us ease. It never has. What it offers, if we're willing to look, is the chance to build a mind that stays steady, even when everything outside is falling apart. That's what Stoicism taught me. Peace doesn't come from the weather being calm. It comes from building a boat that won't sink, no matter the storm. We think comfort means being safe, but often it just means being numb. And numbness isn't freedom, it's delay. Delay of pain, of decisions of truth. A Stoic doesn't ask the world to be gentle. He simply asks himself to be honest. So I'll tell you what I told that man. Stop chasing comfort, chase clarity. Don't ask, when will things be easier? Ask, what am I refusing to see clearly? And then be brave enough to face it, even if it hurts, even if it means walking through the fire of your own illusions. Because once you see clearly, you stop negotiating with lies. You stop betraying yourself just to avoid discomfort. That's when peace begins, not the fake kind, but the kind that's unshakable. So today I invite you to sit with your discomfort. Not to escape it, but to understand it. And ask yourself, what am I really seeking, comfort or clarity? If this first lesson resonates with you, help me reach 1,000 subscribers so I can keep sharing Stoic wisdom every week. Like, share, and subscribe. It means more than you know. And tell me in the comments, when was the last time you mistook comfort for peace? Lesson 2. You don't control the world, but you control how you respond. Let me take you back to a moment that changed how I see freedom. A few years ago, I was mentoring a man in his late 60s. A proud father. He had spent decades building a company only to have his children, his successors, disagree with how he ran it. Eventually, they pushed him out. He came to me full of fire. They betrayed me. I gave them everything. And now, they don't even call. I listened quietly and asked him one question. What part of this do you actually control? He stared at me silent. And then he broke. Nothing, he whispered, nothing anymore. But that wasn't true. You see, the Stoics remind us again and again, you may not control the winds, but you control how you adjust your sails. You can't force people to be loyal. You can't force life to go your way, but you can choose your reaction. That's where your power lives. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, plagues, betrayal, and yet he wrote calmly in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Think about that. Power not in fixing the world, but in fixing your perspective. When someone disrespects you, the world gives you an opening to grow stronger, not more bitter. When things fall apart, you get the choice: collapse or compose. And the amazing thing is, this choice is available to you every single day. In the grocery store, in a family argument, when you watch the news, when your body aches, when plans change without warning. You can either react or respond. You can rage or reflect. That's real freedom. Not being untouched by chaos, but being untouchable within it. I asked that man again months later, "Do they call now?" He smiled. Still no. But I've stopped waiting. I started living. So now I ask you, what have you been trying to control that's not yours to carry? And what reaction can you change today that would set you free? If this message speaks to your heart, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to help us reach our first 1,000 Stoic thinkers. Comment below. What's one situation where you learn to respond instead of react? Lesson 3. No one owes you kindness. Be kind because it's who you are. Let me tell you a hard truth, one that took me nearly 6 decades to truly understand. Nobody owes you anything. Not kindness, not respect, not gratitude. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. I remember a woman I worked with, early 70s, widowed, kind, generous to everyone around her. She cooked for neighbors, helped strangers, volunteered every week. But one day, she broke down. "They don't even say thank you anymore," she cried. "Why does it feel like I'm invisible?" I looked at her gently and said, "Because you expected kindness in return for your kindness. That's not generosity, that's a transaction." That might sound harsh, but it was a turning point for her. And maybe it can be for you too. Stoicism teaches us to act with virtue for its own sake, not to be noticed, not to be rewarded, but because it aligns with the kind of person we want to be. Seneca said, "A wise man is content with his virtue, he asks no applause." When you are kind, do it, because it's who you are, not because of who they are. It's easy to be nice to people who appreciate us. But real strength is shown when we stay noble in a world that forgets to say thank you. And here's the truth: when you stop waiting for kindness, you start owning your dignity. You rise above the world's chaos. That woman, she kept volunteering, but something changed in her. She smiled more. She stopped checking for acknowledgement. Her energy no longer depended on approval. I want that for you. Be kind, even when they're not. Be generous, even when it goes unnoticed, because you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. Let your actions reflect who you are, not who they are. So I ask you now, is your kindness a gift or a currency you expect to spend? If this resonated, share this with someone who gives without receiving. Comment below. What's one moment when you chose to stay kind even when it felt unfair? And don't forget, subscribe to help this message reach more hearts like yours. Lesson 4. Pain doesn't destroy you. The way you think about it does. Pain. It's something we all carry, some silently, some with tears, some with clenched fists. But here's a truth I've learned after working with hundreds of people over 50: pain is not what breaks us. Our beliefs about pain are. I remember a Vietnam veteran, quiet, tall shoulders that had carried too much. He told me one day, "The pain's always there, but the story I tell myself, that's what eats me alive." He used to think pain meant he was broken, that the trauma, the memories, the regret, they were signs of weakness. Until one day he asked, "What if this pain is just part of being fully alive?" That shift changed everything. You see, the Stoics didn't deny pain. They sat with it, observed it, and then asked, "What is this teaching me?" Epictetus, born into slavery, crippled from abuse, said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about things." Pain is like fire. Left untamed, it destroys. But with awareness, it becomes fuel. Ask yourself, is your pain shaping you or suffocating you? Are you using it to grow or using it to justify staying stuck? You may not have chosen the wound, but you can choose how it's written into your story. The veteran, he started writing, journaling every night, sharing his story with younger soldiers. He didn't escape the pain, but he learned to walk with it with strength, not shame. And maybe you can too. Because in the end, pain is a great teacher if you stop running from it long enough to listen. So next time you whisper, "I can't take this," change the question. What is this pain asking me to become? Like what you're hearing. Help me grow this channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support helps me keep sharing Stoic wisdom every week. Drop a comment. What pain shaped you the most, and what did it teach you? Lesson 5. Silence isn't surrender. It's the strength of someone who understands the value of words. There's a certain kind of strength that never raises its voice. You know the type. The person in the room who says the least but commands the most respect. Not because of what they say, but because of when they choose not to. I remember my father, he was a mechanic. Hands, rough voice, deep but rarely used. One day, a younger man insulted him in public, trying to provoke him over a disagreement at work. My father looked at him once, calmly wiped the grease off his hands, and walked away. That moment changed me. You see, silence is not the absence of power. It is the sign of mastery. Stoicism teaches us this: not every battle is worth your energy. When we feel the need to always correct, always argue, always defend, we're not protecting truth. We're feeding our ego. But the one who remains calm, who lets insults pass like the wind, that's not weakness. That's someone who knows the value of inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." Think of how often we burn ourselves out arguing with people who've already made up their minds, or trying to win in conversations that only drain us. True power lies in restraint, in walking away not because you can't fight, but because you know you don't need to. Words lose value when overused, but silence holds weight. I tell my patients this all the time: when you choose not to engage, you reclaim your dignity. You don't shrink, you rise. So next time someone tries to pull you into a storm, remember, you don't have to step outside your peace to prove anything. Let your silence say what words cannot. Tell me in the comments. When was a time your silence said more than any argument could? If this speaks to your soul, help grow this Stoic space. Like, share, and subscribe today. Let's walk this journey of wisdom together. Lesson 6. Truth doesn't need applause, it just needs to be lived. There's a quiet courage in doing the right thing when no one's watching. In today's world, so loud, so performative, it's easy to confuse visibility with virtue. But real integrity that lives in the dark, it thrives in the moments when you do what's right simply because it's right. I once counseled a woman in her late 50s, a former nurse. She had spent her career caring for others, often without recognition. She said to me, "Sometimes I wonder, did it even matter?" And I told her, it mattered because you stayed true to your values even when nobody clapped. The Stoics didn't chase fame or applause. They lived aligned with their principles even in solitude. Epictetus reminds us, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In other words, live it, quietly, consistently, without needing permission or praise. Truth doesn't ask for attention. It simply endures, like a tree that stands through the seasons, rooted, grounded, unshaken. The moment you do good only to be seen, it's no longer goodness, it's performance. So ask yourself, do you need the world to applaud before you act with honor? Are your values dependent on the crowd or on your conscience? The most powerful people I've met were not the loudest. They were the ones who lived by a code and never broke it, even when no one was looking. So be that person, not perfect, not praised, but deeply principled. Let your life speak louder than your words ever could. And when the world tries to tempt you to perform, remember, you don't need a spotlight to shine. Your integrity is enough. Want more reflections like this? Help me grow this Stoic space. Subscribe now and share this video with someone who walks quietly but lives loudly. What's one value you've held to even when no one noticed? Comment below. Lesson 7. Letting go isn't failure. It's the beginning of freedom. There's a story I carry with me, one I heard from a widow in her 60s, sitting quietly after a support group. She said, "I held on to the pain for years because I thought letting go meant I stopped loving him. But the truth is, I had stopped living." That hit me like a stone in the chest. We often mistake holding on for loyalty, for strength. But the Stoics taught us freedom comes when we stop clinging to what no longer serves us. Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." He didn't mean we should wallow in sorrow. He meant we should understand that loss is part of life, and our job is not to avoid it, but to let go when the time comes. Letting go isn't the same as giving up. It's not weakness, it's courage. It takes courage to stop reopening wounds that won't heal. It takes courage to say, this relationship, this habit, this story, I release it now. Because when you let go of what weighs you down, your soul remembers how to breathe. I want you to ask yourself, what are you still carrying that's no longer yours to hold? What pain has become part of your identity? Stoicism doesn't teach us to be cold. It teaches us to be clear, to love deeply, but not to confuse pain with purpose. That widow, she started painting again. not because she forgot him, but because she remembered herself. So if something is breaking your back, not your heart, maybe it's time to set it down. What have you let go of recently, and how did it change you? Share your story below. And if you're ready to keep walking lighter and wiser, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs it. Lesson 8. Discipline is freedom in disguise. Let me tell you the truth no one wants to hear after retirement. Freedom without structure quickly turns into chaos. I once worked with a man in his early 60s. He had just sold his business, bought a home near the coast, and told me, "Now I can finally do whatever I want." But a few months later, he came back to see me. He was lost, unmotivated, unfulfilled. I thought no alarm clock would feel like heaven, he said. But I feel like I'm drifting. What he was missing was discipline. Stoicism teaches us freedom doesn't mean doing what you feel like. It means doing what you must on purpose. Marcus Aurelius rose before dawn every day, not because he wanted to, but because he understood the soul is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. Discipline is not punishment, it's self-respect. You may not be able to control your emotions every morning. You may wake up tired, grumpy, discouraged, but you can still control your actions. And actions shape identity. The Stoics believed that character is forged one small choice at a time. Rising when it's hard. Doing the work without applause. Eating with restraint. Speaking with purpose. That's not about suffering. That's about sovereignty. Discipline turns chaos into clarity. It builds the muscle of commitment. It keeps the soul from softening in comfort. The man I told you about. He didn't go back to business, but he started walking 5 miles every morning, reading 2 hours a day, and mentoring kids in his community. He told me I've never felt freer, because now I know who I am. Ask yourself, are you free, or are you just unstructured? Are you avoiding responsibility, or are you choosing what really matters? Discipline may look like sacrifice, but on the inside, it feels like strength. Share with me in the comments. What small discipline changed your life? Help us build this community of wise minds. Like, share, and subscribe if this lesson speaks to you. Lesson 9. Inner quiet is a fortress. No one can breach. I want you to imagine something. You're standing in the middle of a crowd, people shouting praise, others throwing insults, some pointing fingers, some offering applause. But inside you, stillness, not numb, just unshaken. That's the kind of power Stoicism builds. I met a woman in her 50s, divorced, estranged from her siblings, misunderstood by her adult children. She once told me, I used to live and die by their approval. Now I just breathe. What changed? She stopped looking outside for peace and built it from within. The Stoics believed this was the highest form of power, to be untouched by the chaos of the world. Not by hiding, not by pretending, but by mastering one's own perception. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. When your mood depends on how others treat you, you're not free, you're enslaved by their chaos. But when your peace comes from inside, from principles, not praise, you've become unshakable. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't falter. The woman I mentioned. She started meditating, reading Stoic texts, gardening in silence. Her circumstances didn't change, but her power returned. So the next time someone tries to pull you out of your center, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? And walk away if the answer is no. Because your inner quiet, it's a fortress, and not everyone deserves entry. Do you feel like you've built that fortress yet, or is it still under construction? Let's talk in the comments. If this helped you reconnect with your center, subscribe and share this with someone else who's learning to stay still in a noisy world. Lesson 10. Each day is a chance to live truthfully, not perform. Let's be honest. Most of us, especially in the second half of life, have played roles we didn't believe in. The loyal employee, the perfect spouse, the always happy friend. We wore masks. We smiled when we wanted to scream. We nodded when we wanted to say no. But Stoicism whispers something radical. You don't need a role. You need a reason. I met a man once, 71 years old, who said, I've spent my life performing. Now I want to live. That conversation stuck with me. He was tired of pretending. Tired of trying to be seen as strong or successful or in control. He wanted truth, even if it meant starting from scratch. The Stoics would have nodded in agreement. They taught us that every day we're offered a stage, but we don't have to act. We can just be. Be honest. Be steady. Be guided by values, not applause. Marcus Aurelius journaled, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's it. You don't need to look brave. Just act with courage. You don't need to seem wise. Just speak the truth. You don't need to win anyone's approval. Just live by your principles. This isn't easy, but it is freeing. The man I mentioned, he sold his big house, moved to a small town, started woodworking, and began writing letters to people he loved just to say what he never dared before. He told me, "For the first time in 40 years, I'm not performing. I'm just living." That's Stoicism in motion. And that's my invitation to you. Stop performing. Start living. Which masks are you ready to drop? Comment below. Like, share, and subscribe to help more people walk their true path with courage and clarity. So, my friend, if you've stayed with me until now, thank you. Let's take a moment to breathe and remember what we've just walked through together. That comfort isn't peace, clarity is. That no one owes you kindness, but you can still choose to be kind. That silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom in motion. That letting go isn't losing, it's finally beginning to live. And that real freedom, it comes not from changing the world, but from mastering the world within. These are not just Stoic ideas. They are life-tested truths, passed down through centuries and now passed on to you. If even one lesson spoke to your heart, I'd love to hear which one. Leave a comment below. Which of the 10 Stoic lessons resonated with you the most and why? And if you'd like more reflections like this, gentle, honest, and grounded, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone walking their own quiet journey. Because the more we spread wisdom, the less noise we need to survive. Until next time, stay steady, stay kind, and stay true to who you are.